Uber has consistently made headlines since it shot to prominence earlier this decade, from breathtaking valuations to corporate intrigue, and recently its big IPO that didn't live up to expectations, at least so far. We're now only getting some of the first-hand accounts detailing the company's meteoric rise in a new book. It's out today. Super Pumped, The Battle for Uber. It's a fabulous book, and I will say so myself. I've read it. Joining us is the book's author, Mike Isaac, technology reporter at the New York Times, takes you all behind the scenes of the past, I don't know, what, decade, Mike?
About 10 years, yeah. Inside
the room, you really feel like you were there with Travis through all of the machinations, him getting pushed out. It has a remarkable sort of narrative propulsion. So here's my question for you, though. Having now studied Travis and all that he brought to the organization and the sort of hard-driving mentality, and now Derek Khosrowshahi, who's in that role, brought in large part because that hard-chargingness, which might have helped the company in the beginning, was thought to have not, and that you needed somebody else. There's now a new narrative saying that you might need a a Travis kind of guy on the other side.
Yep.
Do you believe that? What do you think right now?
I mean, I think after 2017, which was like explosions going on around the entire building and just everyone needed people to chill out for a minute, Dara seemed like a good pick just because he was basically drama-free. He was like a numbers guy under Barry Diller at IAC for a very long time, just sort of very steady as she goes CEO. I think that has kind of worked to calm things down, but some folks are kind of questioning whether he's maybe a little too chill, if that makes sense. You know, like maybe some of the early employees really credited Travis with this ability to drive a fire inside of employees in the company. And I think when you have competitors in all of the markets around the world, that's something you might need.
So you write the following. You say, this is a former employee, I believe you're quoting. Is Uber going to be an Amazon, a company that dominates in every sector it branches into, or are we going to be another eBay?
Yep.
What do you think the answer is?
Look, they love to call themselves an Amazon right now just because Bezos for years trained the street that you can go on razor-thin margins or even negative, report negative quarterly earnings and still be okay. Uber is not exactly an Amazon quite yet. Last quarter they lost some $5 billion, although some of those were like one-time charges. And they have a long way to go to still prove that this platform thing that they're doing is really more than just their core ride-hailing business.
What have you talked to Travis since this book came out? Because I'll tell you, he paints. I mean, Travis. There are moments where Travis looks great, but there are moments where Travis looks terrible.
Yep. No. He is not. He did not participate or cooperate.
You do, though, have there is a chapter, I don't want to give it away, spoiler alert, towards the end, where you run into Travis.
Yeah. It was in the comedy of errors that is my life, I ran into him outside of the courtroom when they were on trial, Uber versus Waymo, when Waymo was suing Uber. And we had a moment, we talked, and I said it would be off the record, but there was this moment before he went into the courtroom and was sort of like ready to go inside, ready to just sort of give his side of things. And he still looks like he's always going to be ready to fight for that next thing. That's what he's doing in his next startup.
What was it? You had reported on this aggressively for the Times throughout. So what was the big surprise for you?
In reporting for the book?
In the reporting for the book, right.
Yeah. I think the funny thing is that everyone I spoke to really has this sort of mixed feelings about Travis, like as problematic or complicated of a person he is. Like, he also took the company very far in the early days. There's a big argument for, would this company be the same without him? Could we have even built it? The incumbent sort of that wouldn't let other transportation players in, would they have still been there without Travis? So I really think that everyone has mixed feelings about him as a CEO.
Does Dara need a little bit of Travis in him? I mean, judging from the last earnings call where he sort of let the narrative pervade that, there was not a path to profitability, and especially when you compare it to Lyft's call, which happened the day before or 2 days prior. Yeah. I mean, people were much more comfortable with the Lyft story in terms of their path to profitability.
Yeah, it's really hard because Lyft is just by nature a smaller company. Sure. It's not fighting as many wars as Uber is across the whole world. And The wonder is, do you need like a wartime CEO all the time if you're going to be, on across multiple continents? And I don't know. I think that it's weird because I think we kind of forget the trauma of 2017 and how gnarly it was under Travis. But there's a case for maybe he needs to be a little bit more of a fighter.
Mike, we can't let you go without going back to the Amazon versus eBay. In 3 years' time, you have to answer this question.
Oh, gosh.
Is it more Amazon or is it more eBay in 3 years' time?
3 years' time. If they can pull out from beyond just a ride-hailing business, if they can do food delivery well, if they can do bikes and scooters, if they can actually start making money.
Is there something else, by the way, they could do? Is there some other thing we don't even know about?
I mean, yeah, what is that other next product? Retail delivery stuff? Like, I don't know. That's stuff that I don't think they fully know quite yet. Payments is something that they're sort of dabbling into, so I would look at that. Maybe if they can pull that off, maybe it's the next Amazon.
Okay.
That's a big maybe.
Mike Isaac, it is the book of the fall. It is out today. It is called Super Pump, The Battle for Uber. Great to see you. Congratulations.
I want an Uber digital currency. If they, if
They're part of the Libra.
they are Libra. They don't need their own then. Well, that's not going anywhere, so maybe they should have their own.